Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Talladega Super Speedway, and welcome to the Thank God Saban Retired by Campbell Racing 162 and a half. It's great to have Campbell Racing on board for the Talladega race here. We've got 29 drivers ready to compete in what should be a fantastic night of racing. You see cars just rolling out onto the track now, getting ready for a pit party. Currently looking at the four league founder Jaron Sanchez, right behind him 38 Thomas Harmon, and as you can see we've gone back to the Race Labs horizontal standings across the top of the screen. Unfortunately, the software that we have been using this season with one of the recent updates to iRacing doesn't work right now. Hopefully soon that can get rectified, we can go back to using it. But that is why this particular race has taken over a week to get out. Just waiting to see if there was a hot patch which would allow it to work, but there is not. There's everyone getting ready and lined up for the pit party here. Current order you're seeing across the top of the screen is actually the way in which they're going to finish practice here. I think. Oh, actually, no, that's current. Yeah, that's not the way in which they're going to finish. But they're getting ready for a pit party here anyway. Many pit parties to happen here at Talladega. As the draft is very imperative, as Chris Champeau trying to make it 3 wide already, just about door slammed Thomas Harmon onto the apron. Looking at 78, Brian Pizzicemi. He's trying to make his way through. Oh, there's someone in the fence. And I think that is league founder Jaron Sanchez. Oh, as we got a wreck. That's Jonathan Hernandez up in the fence. Chris Champeau caught a piece of that. So too did the 00 of Jonas Marquez. You're going to get 2 days in a row of Output Racing League action. The Talladega race here, which was last week, coming out on the Wednesday night in America, the Thursday here in Australia, and then tomorrow, in exactly 24 hours time, we'll have the Texas race. A few new faces in Texas, so it should be an interesting one as well. You can see most people single filed out here in the pit party. No one really trying to get too wide. As I just saw someone's rear bumper come flying up. I think that came off the TJ Crampton car. He's going very slowly now, and it did in fact come off the TJ Crampton car. So apparently if you push too hard in these things, you're going to lose the front bumper of the car in front of you. There was a big push just then from Travis Masia onto Joe Slama, and simultaneously Thad Faylor getting spun out there by Andrew Hennessy. Good to see Hennessy out there having a run. We don't get to see too much of Hennessy anymore. Always good when he does come out on track though. He's a bit like Christian Budd. He's very dominant when he's racing, but very elusive as well, unless we've got a car that absolutely tickles his fancy. Or a car track combo that tickles his fancy. At the moment, Ken Campbell leading this pack with Brian Pizzicemi on his tail. Then there's Joe Slimer in third, TJ Crampton fourth, James Watson in fifth. Just a little bit behind them, Scott Rickard and Travis Masia. Masia currently with the top time. a 48.931. Thomas Harmon P2. We've got James Watson up in third. Jonas Marquez fourth. Austin Dan in fifth. Jack Sanders P6. Mark Pentecoff P7. Andrew Hennessy 8. Brian Pizzicami 9. Scott Rickard in 10th. Now, one thing's for sure, you definitely don't want to get stuck in the middle these next gen cars. Because the way that they've done the draft model now, if you're in the middle, then you're just going to fall back. Unless, of course, you've got a well more developed line than what the outside line has. They're mostly down to groups of two. The 13 and Massey have been the odd man out. No one to draft up with. Campbell and Crampton with a big run. Oh, Campbell got loose. He moved too quickly. Ellie's Crampton out on his lonesome. Looks like Massey has dropped off from this pack as well, as chaos ensues. Now we're going 3 wide. 2 by 3. Look at that, you can fit another 2 lines of cars there. It wouldn't be comfortable, but you can do it. This time is ticking down very quickly here in practice. Only have 20 times on the leaderboard. Got 8 minutes left here in practice. The current weather across the top as well. 3.2k south, 24 degrees Celsius, 29% humidity. That's the ambient temp. Track temp 45 degrees Celsius, so it's a very hot track. Track is currently in low usage. The wind direction is just slightly northeast, and it is at 12 kilometers per hour. And if you want to translate that into freedom units, you've got to do it yourself. Doesn't look like we've got too many more fast times coming in. Oh, it's TJ Crampton. Big blammo into the inside fence. See, that's blown the louvers out of the hood. That's how intense that impact was. That'd be a big nasty fine from NASCAR. Austin Dan up in this pack as well. He's currently in the 5th position in that number 3 car. Leading the pack down here, which is very rarely before league founder Jaron Sanchez. Oh, and getting spun. That seems more like it, although that flip, that looked a bit mean. That was targeted for sure. They're snaking their way through. We've got 4 minutes 20 seconds left in practice, and these guys still just trying to play with the draft, because that's what you got to do around here. You got to manipulate the draft to suit your needs, and practicing pit entry, definitely very important around here, as both Thomas Harmon and Scott Rickard blew entry there a little bit. Pretty sure both of them got into the grass. About 4 laps left in practice. It's looking like it's going to be pretty interesting here, as Corey Cook and Pancho Olivas have set times now as well, 61 and 114. More people practicing pit entry as time is ticking away. Just about 2 minutes left on the clock. Now it's just a minute and a half left. These guys still driving pretty hard. I expect some of these guys to practice pit entry next time by, just because time is ticking away. And if you haven't practiced pit entry yet, then well, you're probably going to be stuffed if we get green flag stops. But we are going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will see the results of qualifying, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Racing action be coming up very shortly. Welcome back to the Thank God Saban Retired by Campbell Racing 162.5 here from the Talladega Super Speedway. And qualifying has just wrapped up. So we're going to start getting ready to see where everyone's going to be starting here. On the pole, we are going to have the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez on his outside, will be the 94 of Andrew Hennessy, neither of them currently on the grid. Oh, there we go, Andrew's on the grid now. Out of P3, we're going to have the 03 of TJ Crampton on his outside, row of threes. It's going to be the 3 of Austin Dan. P5 will be the 89 of Matt Horton with P6, the 19 of Logan McAnally. P7 will be the 61 of Corey Cook with P8, the 2 of Reggie Ortega. P9 will be the 05 of Scott Rickard with P10, the 25 of Jack Sanders. There he is. P11 will be the 74 of Austin Collins with P12, the 15 of Ken Campbell. P13, lucky for some, unlucky for others, the 38 of Thomas Harmon with P14, the 13 of Travis Massier. P15 will be the 39 of James Watson with P16, the 5 of Mark Pentecoff. P17 will be the 9 car of Joe Slammer with P10, the 44 of Clayton Ward. P19 will be the 7 of Kyle Kraus with P20, the 93 of Matt Sisler. P21 will be the 12 of Chris Champeau with P22, the 68 of Andrew Griesbaum. P23 will be the 47 car of Dustin Franklin with P24, the 4 league founder Jaron Sanchez. And we have Thad Failer in the 21 out of 25th. We've got the 78 Brian Pizzicami out of 27th. Logan Lansford in the 50 out of 28th. Jonas Marquez in the 00 out of 29th. And Pancho Olivas in the 114 out of the 30th starting position. Back up to the front of the field we go. 65 laps, 162.5 miles. As you can see, weather conditions mostly still the same. Slightly more humidity, slightly stronger wind, and this time straight up in an easterly direction. And if you don't know which way the east is, that is going across turns 1 and 2. Go from the front straight to the back straight. Now it's very possible we're going to see some carnage. It's very possible we could see no carnage at all. All depends on how these guys are going to drive the track. Pace car makes that hard left turn into pit lane. We're getting ready to go green. As a general reminder, the first start is on green. All the restarts will be on the leader inside of the restart zone. As they're just about at the restart zone, there it is. And we're off and racing. For the Thank God Saban Retired by Campbell Racing 162.5. And it looks like the outside line with the slight advantages are going through turns 1 and 2. Combination of Austin Dan and Andrew Hennessy on the outside line there. It's too good at the moment. Jonathan Hernandez and TJ Crampton on the inside, just falling back a little bit. down to the bottom comes both Austin Dan and Andrew Hennessy. Logan McConnelly on the outside line trying to take advantage as well. Jonathan Hernandez went from first to fifth here on the first lap as Andrew Hennessy scores the first lap lead. Just jumping from lane to lane, controlling both lanes. It's what you got to do around here, but it can also lead to some big crashes if you can't get it quite right. Down the back straight they go. See a couple of cars just languishing off the back of the pack. They don't want to get involved in anything too early. They'll bide their time, try and draft back up to the pack later. As someone just slipped up into the outside line. Just trying to see who that is. I think that might be the 2. Nope, it's the 25. No, it wasn't the 25. Must be the 74 of Austin Collins. Maybe it's not even him, I can't really tell. His camera angle's not really doing us any justice. There's Sad Baylor. Oh, Corey Cook out of line. Oh, it looks like it's the 89, my apologies. Matt Horton now on the outside line, he went from the bottom to the top. Do have one car down in the open there, losing a couple of positions. Looks like he's going to get back on track quite nicely. Setting the camera to focus on crashes now, because a crash could come from literally anywhere on the track. It looks like we've got 2 packs forming here. The second pack still within drafting distance of the front pack. As booted to the outside line was the 15 of Ken. Oh, sorry, that's the 5, Mark Pentecoff. It was right up there, looking pretty good. And Matt Horton has just taken over the lead of the inside line now, after the drafting help that he got on the 2 of Reggie Ortega, and I believe that is the 25 of Jack Sanders behind him. Andrew Griesbaum there has fallen off the back of the main pack, and he will fall into the clutches of the second pack. All eyes stay up here at the front. Oh, Horton got a bad bump there, spun down onto the apron. He's gathered it back up. He's safely back up on the track, but he's going to probably lose the draft here. He doesn't have the miles per hour to keep up with the front pack or even the secondary pack. His only hope now will be with Pancho, who was off the back of the pack as well. See the outside line forming up real nicely right now. They have a big advantage over the inside line, as I think that's Mark Pentecoff that's just jumped down to start leading the inside line. Looks like the 78 Brian Pizzakemi. Oh, might have been a little bit of contact back there. I think that's the 93 of Sisler. No, it's not. Definitely saw the 4. Well, Sanchez was involved in that. Maybe it was Jonas. A little bit of misalignment there between the two. Oh, Jack Sanders just squeezed Austin Dan up into the fence. Both of them tried going for a big gap there on the outside line. TJ Crampton now right up on the tail of Mark Pentecoff. Tandem drafting on the inside line. Like Travis Masia trying to join up with them. And to be fair, they're getting a pretty good run here. TJ will have to be careful he doesn't blow up though. Tandem drafting comes with a lot of risk to the car pushing. Especially if you can't get enough air into the oil cooler. But it's a damn good job from Mark Pentecoff. Up in the top 10. It's funny because this car is usually so terrible to drive. But something about this car just really clicks with Mark Pentecoff. And there's a couple of tracks where we can quite often see him up towards the front. There's a lot of bumping going on in the middle of that outside line. Andrew Hennessy says, I'm ducking out of this one. And Mark Pentecoff is in the lead. There's James Watson. He looks like he's gone for a bit of a ride there. Let's just have a squiz at what happened here. 12 right behind him. Oh, misaligned. Watson managed to keep it off the fence. But that's probably going to hamper his progress here a little bit. There's now a lot more people diving down to the bottom lane. And now we have 3 lanes of racing. Reggie Ortega still trying to make this outside line work. There's more and more people diving away from it. He's only got 2 helpers left and they've all gone to the back of the pack now. Oh, there it is. Around. That's the 93 Matt Sisler. That has brought out the caution. People still trying to scatter around it. Let's back this up and see what happened to the driver of the 93 car. They're going through the tri-oval. He's got the 9 of Joe Slama on his tail. 44 Clayton Ward getting onto the apron there. And Sisler got a little bit of a run because of that. There's a lot of check up there. Sisler checks up. Slama checks up. Just catches him at the wrong angle. Corey Cook's so very lucky not to be involved. Unfortunately, Logan McAnally is the other car involved. The innocent party in that. Oh, Brian Pizzicami. What a dodge for the 78 car. These two go spinning off. And you know what? We need to back this up again and see this from on board the 78 car. So into his cockpit we go. And here's the checkup. I'm assuming this is the contact. So Pizzicami really not seeing much at all there. Crash has started to happen. That's Ken Campbell just ahead. And onto the brakes big time, immediately to the left. And he's just managed to sneak away from that one. He must have a good spotter helping him out here tonight, because that was a very tight squeeze. So that is the first caution of the race. And we have Mark Pentecoff currently leading the way. So with that, we're going to go to our first commercial break. When we come back, we will be having a lot more racing action. So make sure you guys stay tuned. More action from the Thank God Saban Retired by Campbell Racing 162.5 will be coming up very shortly. Welcome back to the Thank God Saban Retired 162.5 here from the Talladega Motor Speedway, presented by Campbell Racing. And Mark Pentecoff came into the pits in first, and he's now sitting all the way down in 22nd. Both him and Thomas Harmon popping pit lane penalties during the caution flag. Everyone but Travis Massier pitted. Travis Massier currently leading the way. Got some bonus points for leading the laps. We get ready to go back green. Go green with 13 laps complete, which means just 52 laps to go. I say just 52 laps, but you know, around here 52 laps is a long time. So your top 10 is Travis Massier. Got Andrew Hennessy there in P2, Corey Cook in third, Scott Rickard fourth, Joe Slama fifth, Reggie Ortega sixth. It's Jack Sanders in seventh, Ken Campbell eighth, Jonathan Hernandez ninth, and Austin Collins in P10. Here we go for the restart. We're off and racing. You see some moves already being made towards the back of the pack. Both DJ Crampton and Thomas Harmon moving to the outside lane. Just also saw briefly the 39 James Watson moving to the inside lane behind Jaron Sanchez. Sanchez is doing pretty good. Hasn't been wrecked yet, which for him around Talladega is generally quite the surprise. Andrew Hennessy trying to get right up on the high line there with Scott Rickard. Yeah, it's Reggie Ortega up there with him as well. Looks like the outside lane not really going as expected as 13 Travis Massia. Sort of momentum coming in the middle, went to it. But unfortunately, he stalled out all the momentum in that middle lane. Corey Cook now leading the way. Joe Slammer on his tail. But we do have a solid 3 grooves of racing going on here. But that middle lane is just ever so slightly stalling out here. Tennessee jumps into the bottom lane now. Back into the top. I think that was just in an effort to get some air on the nose of the 05 of Scott Rickard. All the cars moving around with the draft. Lots of moves being made throughout the field. And that middle lane has all but died out now. Even the outside lane starting to lose some of its momentum. Inside line absolutely chugging along. And outside lane's going to have to move to the middle lane if they want to get anything done. Tennessee ducks down into the middle once more. I think he was trying to get the line to come down with him, but no one really did. I just stalled out the momentum of both lines. Most of the field kind of single filed out here. The top 10 is pretty easy to see because they're all in the bottom lane. Goes all the way back to Matt Sisler in a 93 car. We're focused on the 13 Travis Massia. Right behind him, league founder Jaron Sanchez. Just in front of him, the 3 of Austin Dan, but here comes Andrew Hennessy. So now got Chris Champeau on his tail. And they are starting to make some good ground up here on the inside lane. And diving from the bottom to the outside lane. I think that was the 3 of Austin Dan. Actually, no, I was wrong. That's the 88 Jonathan Hernandez. As, Corey Cook. Big drama, big action. Right, we're going to have to go back and suss this one out again. Let's slow it down here. Have a look at the 61 car, our leader. As they come off of turn 2. See, he's moved up to try and block the momentum of that outside lane. Unfortunately, the momentum was too great. Jonathan Hernandez was turning them there. It looks like Hernandez got turned as well by Hennessy. Hennessy comes back across, collects Champeau and the 7 of Kraus. Lots more drama unfolding. See it here from the wide view back straight camera. Just the magnitude of the incident. Corey Cook on the inside wall, just cars spinning everywhere. And this one might take a little bit to get cleaned up. What this has done though is I think this has put the 9 of Joe Slama into the lead. And yeah, officially he just led a lap. So let's see if we get any pit stops underway here. Just started lap 20, which means at the end of this lap, there'll be just 45 laps to go. I was just thinking to myself as I was going through turns 1 and 2, they can't be done wrecking yet. And a big nasty block, and that was all she wrote there for a few of those drivers. Pretty sure Travis Massia might take the advantage now of pitting. Few people coming in. Slama and Sanders both in. So too is Hennessy. Hennessy will probably be worried about any potential damage to his front end. This is a terrible camera angle. And looks like Thomas Harmon has stayed out. We're going to keep watching Slama here just to see. And he just drove through the pit lane. He didn't even stop, just drove straight through it. So, he might have missed his pit box there. Thomas Harmon now in the lead of this race. Peter 13, Travis Massia there in P2. Got Matt Horton in 3, James Watson 4, Mark Pentakoff in P5. Joe Slama 6, Andrew Griesbaum 7, Jack Sanders 8, Scott Rickard in P9, and 4 of Jaron Sanchez holding on to the top 10. Good stuff. There's still quite a few people in the pit lane getting repairs. See Pancho's in there, Chris, Ken, a couple others up towards the front of the pit lane there as well. Slama goes back into the pits. He'll relinquish his P6, and that'll bring Matt Sissler into the top 10 now. Brandon was another one of those who was still in pit lane getting repairs. Ken Campbell just sneaking out in front of the pace car. We're now going 1 to green. Track temps come down 3 degrees Celsius. But we are getting ready for the restart. This race already starting to drag on a bit, so hopefully this will be the last time we see the pace car hit the track. Some green flag stops would be quite nice. Travis Masia has still not pit. So if we do get a bit of a green flag run here, Travis Masia will have to pit before everyone else. And one of the worst things at super speedways is pitting by yourself. You want to have at least one draft buddy to pit with you. Pace car pulls in. Top 6, all on old tyres. Everyone else with fresh tyres. They enter the restart zone, and we're off and racing once more. Chris Champeau with a massive run from the back of the pack. I think he might have Kyle Bushed it a little bit. There's one car up in front of these guys. That's the 9 of Joe Slama. So Joe obviously having some issues there with his pit. Obviously maybe has a little bit of lingering damage from that accident by virtue of not being able to pit on the first time of asking. Had to sit there on the Wonder Green and get most of his repairs done. Fortunately, that will mean that Joe Slama is going to go a lap down here. But Thomas Harmon's still leading the way, Matt Horton on his tail. And the 5 of Mark Pentecoff up there in P3. I don't think we're done with the cautions yet. Here we've got Jan Sanchez up there in P5. Just behind the 25 of Jack Sanders. It's a great run for Jack Sanders as well. Jan Sanchez moving into the momentum of the top lane. He kind of checked them up a little bit there. I don't think the 13 of Masia was ready for it. Looks like they're starting to get themselves sorted out now though. Could be Sanchez making a march towards the front if they can get hooked up just nicely. This is where the third car in line is very crucial. Need that third car to be as close to the second car as possible, so the second car can overcome the aero bubble that forms between the cars. And that looks like that's exactly what's happened now. As the field is catching up to Pancho, he's gone onto the apron. But Olivas getting out of the way there very nicely. You see the outside lane just slowly starting to creep up now. They've been methodical about it. They know there's still a lot of race to run. They don't want to do any big nasty pushes. Not yet anyway. As the 39 of James Watson has abandoned the outside line for the inside. Here comes Sanchez on the charge. Got quite a bit of help there on the outside line. Still all Thomas Harmon, Matt Horton and Mark Pentecoff at the moment. Sanders still just holding on to fourth. Now Sanchez has taken over that fourth position, just back once more. A little bit of a tug of war here with the way the aero works. In fact, that inside line getting a real good run there. Although now they've become a little bit unorganised. There could be the chance the outside line needed. But Travis Massio backed off from Sanchez a little bit. Probably just to try and get some air on his nose, try and cool down his oil temp. But they're going to try and make another charge at it here. As Travis actually ditches the outside line. This now puts the double O Jonas Marquez into the pushing position. Pentecoff still holding on to that top three. Sanders has lost a little bit of ground to the top three there. Sanders and Sanchez side by side for multiple laps here for the fourth position. Also got the 88 to 12 in that outside line. And the 78. That's Hernandez, Champo and Pizzakemi. Also see Crampton. Can't quite tell who that is on the back of it. Oh, it's a 74, Austin Collins, and then just joining them, Andrew Hennessy on the outside line. The big advantage the inside line has right now is they don't have to work too hard. And both Mark and Matt have plenty of opportunity to cool down their engines. They might want to start getting organised here soon, though. Outside line starting to get some momentum on it. Because now it's Jonas and Pizzakemi. As both Champo and Hernandez ditch the outside lane. Jonas jumped out of line there briefly to cool down. It's going to hurt the outside line there quite a bit. Being moved straight back into pushing position. Again, Horton not working overly hard here. Yeah, he's giving Thomas the push now. But when he needs to cool down, he's got plenty of time to do it, although not anymore. As the outside line's gotten lined up once more. And here comes Sanchez peeking to the outside now, Thomas Harmon. I think Sanchez has just got his nose ahead. Sanchez leads a lap. The first lap led by Jaron Sanchez in a very, very long time. And we've also reached a halfway point. 33 down, 32 to go. Thomas just edging ahead once more. Here goes the outside line, and Jaron Sanchez, big momentum down the back straight. Sanchez going to ditch the outside line and go down to the bottom. Now it's up to Jonas and Brian to try and push this outside lane up. The 03 is there as well. Although jumping to the middle now with Sanchez, I think he got a little bit booted out the way. So his lead was very short-lived. But the important thing is, he got the bonus points for leading the lap. And no one can take that away from him. Something else that's not very well talked about right now is green flag stops. If we stay green like this, we will have to do green flag stops. Jonas and Pizzicami have both edged in front of Harmon. In fact, even TJ Crampton edged ahead there. And now Pizzicami makes a big move to the inside. And he's getting the push from Harmon. Harmon and Pizzicami work very well together. This could be a really good move. The momentum of that outside line is just so strong right now. As they're catching back up to the 9 of Slama. He's about to go a second lap down. Crampton now looking to move to the bottom. And he now takes the lead away. Big push incoming from Brian Pizzicami. Pizzicami, always one of the better pushers in the league. As the field's starting to catch up to Pancho up ahead. It's 4 seconds ahead of the pack. The inside line's got a lot of momentum now. The top 3 of Crampton, Pizzicami and Harmon. A very formidable combination. And Pizzicami ditches it, goes to the outside line. He saw the momentum coming. Big push from Marquez. Will the momentum be enough to carry him into the lead? That'll be the big question here, as he does have his car ahead. This time he was staying in the outside lane. He got cleared, but he didn't want to take it down low. Marquez with a massive push here coming out of turn 4. And Pizzicami is going to lead a lap. And Sanchez just sniped P4 away from Crampton. Oh, there's a little bit of unsettledness there in the inside lane. Looked like that might have been Pentacuff just getting bullied a little bit. As the 05 of Rickard dives to the inside. A couple of cars going with him. Oh, and I think I just saw... Yep, Jonas Marquez just ditched Pizzicami and is now leading the race. This is where the race is going to get interesting. But this is also where we are going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we will be going to the end. So make sure you guys stay tuned. More action from the Thank God Saban Retired by Campbell Racing 162.5 will be coming up very shortly. Welcome back to the Thank God Saban Retired by Campbell Racing 162.5. We're currently looking out the bumper of Austin Collins through the bumper of Scott Rickard. During the commercial break, these two drove around the outside of Jonas Marquez to take the lead. You see Jonas has moved back into the outside lane and is now being pushed by Pizzacchemi. Outside lane very organised, everyone nice and close. There's a little bit of separation there between Sanchez and Rickard. That could be to the detriment of that inside lane. And we do have green flag pit stop starting. Got Corey Cook in the pits, so too is Joe Slammer. Though Slammer I think is more for repairs than anything. Travis Masia just up ahead as well, and I'm pretty sure he's pitted. Finally. Now Scott Rickard has taken the lead from Austin Collins. Inside lane getting a little bit more organised. Sanchez was almost going to jump into the outside lane, but left it a little bit too late as they're catching up to Travis Masia. And yeah, Travis pitted on lap 40, so right when I threw it to commercial break. Corey Cook went one lap after that. As now Jonas has been shuffled out of the lead of the outside line. Now it's Hernandez and Pizzacchemi with Crampton in the third position. On the inside, Austin Collins pushing hard on the 05 of Scott Rickard. And the 03 of Crampton has fallen off the back of Hernandez. Not sure what happened there, whether he got a bad bump from behind or something, or just lifted a little bit too much. That's ruined all the momentum of that outside line. They're starting to get lined back up again. Looks like that outside line just struggling to gain momentum now. As green flag pit stops are looming. The other thing that's looming is more lap traffic in the form of Corey Cook, the Cookie Monster himself. He's just up ahead of our leaders. He goes to the outside lane now. Hennessy changing lanes, moving into the outside lane. And then back down to the inside. And back to the outside again. Hennessy doesn't know where he's looking. There's Matt Sisler, who's off the pace. Not sure what happened to him. Don't even know why iRacing chose the radar on there. That was just a little bit weird. But we are in the final 20 laps. And most of these cars are going to be pretty close to running on fumes. And they all do need to stop. With the exception to the cars who have already pitted, such as Corey Cook and Travis Massier. We do also have a second pack that's a quarter of the lap behind these guys. Matt Horton's actually leading that line. Let me have a look here. Oh no, so on this pack it's Andrew Griesbaum that's leading that line. There we go, got Griesbaum, Champeau, Logan Lansford, Ken Campbell, just to name a few. Yeah, it's Dustin in there, Thad, Clayton. Go back up to the front of the pack. No one choosing to peel off the pits yet. Field catches up to the mint green car of Matt Sisler, who is now a lap down. Sisler going to try and jump onto the back of this pack, just like Corey Cook. TJ Crampton moving up into the outside lane there really helped him. Travis Massier, another one who's jumped onto this lane. As we have pit stops now. 2 cars going in. Thomas Harmon, Reggie Ortega. James Watson, Mark Pentacuff, they've all pitted. Now it's time to see what wheeling and dealing we can get for cars going in. But these guys have stayed out one more lap. And time's ticking away too. We've almost got 10 to go. So these guys are waiting for literally the last few moments here to pit. But they want to go until they're just about bled dry. Again, no one choosing the pit. You usually tell pretty early when they come off the turn 4 if people are pitting. It's a shame this is not an official race. A lot of people would be standing to gain a lot of I rating here if they were to continue. Like Brian Pizzicami in P4 would gain 113. Jack Sanders in P6 would gain 114. Scott Rickard getting the win would gain 69. And again, no one pits. TJ Crampton with the fast lap of the race so far, 49.279. As Andrew Griesbaum comes out of the pits. And he's going to miss his opportunity to get on this draft train. Do we have any takers this time? No. We're going to be 10 to go. Next lap. We're at 11 to go right now. Which means these guys will be just about on fumes at the moment. And they're just looking for the splash and dash. Are we going no tires, just splash and dash and get out of there. As always, there is still the chance, the risk of a caution. Here we go, we got action now. And pretty much this whole group's coming into the pits now. And it looks like everyone got woed up real good there. That was actually quite magical to watch as now we've got 10 to go. Austin Collins, the odd man out, leading the way. He got ditched by everyone. But he is in the lead, so he got bonus points for leading the lap there. We're looking at Logan Lansford, Ken Campbell, Chris Champeau. These guys are second, third, and fourth right now. And those guys are waiting on coming to the pits as well. So like Scott Rickard came into the pits in first in this group, came out of the pits in first. Aaron Sanchez, second in the group. So we, as I said, have the 10 to go. Couple of cars jumping onto the back of this group that weren't there before. That's James Watson and Thomas Harmon, who pitted 6 laps ago, along with Reggie Ortega. Jack Sanders trying to push 78 of Pizzicami up to the back of Hernandez here. He's managed to do that. Now Pizzicami's got to push Hernandez to the back of Sanchez. Austin Collins has come into the pits, and Austin Collins gets swallowed by the pack. But relatively speaking, he actually hasn't lost that much ground compared to the pack here. And yeah, he was towards the front of the pack when they all ditched him, but he's still in the pack, which is incredible. There's still 6 cars yet to pit. It's Logan Lansford, Ken Campbell, Chris Champeau. We've got Dustin up there as well, Thad and Clayton. That's your top 6. That's the 50, the 15, the 12, the 47, the 21, and the 44. See their names as they're coming up across the screen now. That's Lansford, Campbell, Champeau, Franklin, Fallel, and Ward. As Lansford, Campbell, and Champeau have come into the pits. Ward has come into the pits as well, so it's just Franklin and Fallel that have not. 2 Fs still out there on track. Also, I have no idea what the LL means. I think that means last lap in the ticker. So the time that you see next to the LL means that was their last lap time. Dustin and Thad must be on absolute fumes right now. And they have come to the pits. This now gives the lead back to the 05 of Scott Rickard. There's action in the back of the pack as Reggie Ortega trying to make his way up there. He's got Watson, Harmon, and who else is that with them? I think that's Collins on the back. Yeah, it is. That group of 4 trying to get up there now. It's a group of 5 as Hennessy joins in. Looks like Pizzicami was contemplating moving to the outside line there. Stayed down low though. Sanchez thought about it for a second. Thought better of it. Rickard stays down low. Hennessy leads the lap, 5 to go. Hernandez moves into the outside lane now. Hennessy takes the outside lane to the outside wall. He's looking to play that momentum game up high. Watson cuts down low. Oh, he got bumped into the fence. That was Thomas Harmon. That's ruined the momentum in the outside lane. Ortega and Hennessy back down to the bottom. That's gutting for Thomas Harmon. Looks like both Sanchez and Pizzicami were thinking about getting a run going there. They didn't. Collins takes it. Taking Hernandez with him. They don't have enough momentum. Pizzicami goes up there now. So too does Sanchez. Watson's going to join them. Watson was very tentative about joining them. Now Watson's stuck in the middle. We'll jump onto the back of that bottom lane. Could you imagine if Sanchez was able to get the win? It's been a long time between drinks for Jaron Sanchez. He's up against some really stiff competition in the 94 of Andrew Hennessy. But laps are ticking away. It's going to be just 2 to go at the line. Now this is where hashtag never lift comes into play. Sanchez thought about ducking down to the low lane there briefly. There's more cars coming to join the outside lane. Sanchez ducks into the bottom. Pizzagami trying to go with him, gets there. If Pizzagami can get to the back of Sanchez, they're going to have one hell of a run here. White flag, last lap, last chance to win it or wear it. We're keeping our eyes on Sanchez even though Hennessy's in the lead. Sanchez in prime position. Sisler, the lap car, ducks down to the bottom. And Rickard goes to the top. He's got Sanchez with him. Sanchez faked him out. Sanchez going to the middle. Contact. Rickard in the fence. Hennessy with no help. There's absolute pandemonium right now. Hennessy trying to block the lane. We have a couple cars on the inside. They're wrecking at the line. Sanchez gets the win. Sanchez over Hernandez and Hennessy. We've got to go back here and unpack this a little bit. So you got Collins and Watson below the yellow line there. Let's see if they were forced down there or whether they just drove down there, because that has me curious. Coming out of turn 4. On the 74 of Collins drove himself down there. Watson got bumped down there by a 25. They stayed down there a little bit. Let's keep an eye on the 78 here. And as he comes down the block, Sanchez with the momentum goes to the middle. Oh, and the 03 of Crampton tried to go with him, I guess not knowing that Pizzakemi was coming up to follow him. Pizzakemi is now loose. There's a tail wag to the 03 of Crampton. Sanchez, look at that margin of victory. That was just about nothing over Hernandez. Then the post-race crashing ensues. But Jaron Sanchez, league founder, have to go a long way back to see the last time he got a win, but it was not very recently. I think it was probably about 2 years ago maybe, as he was involved in a crash there post-race with Hernandez. But we got to give him his moment to shine. He's got a long way to drive before he can get back to the start-finish line to do some victory burnouts. But what a good job there for Jaron Sanchez coming home with a win. Picking it perfectly when Hennessy had no help. And the 78, Brian Pizzakemi, pushing him to the win. before ultimately getting slapped around and doing some slapping around there at the very end. And Pizzacami still finishing 5th. Brandon still gets a top 10. That's good. But here it goes. League founder, the 4, Jaron Sanchez, burning it down to celebrate his win here at Talladega. So now we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have the driver review. So make sure you guys stay tuned. So as always, when we kick off these driver reviews or driver interviews, kick off things with our Autism Awareness Hard Charger Award. And today's Hard Charger is from P15 to P6. Wrong button. Right button. Going to be the 39 of James Watson. James fell a little bit back there. We've seen that he was in that second pack for a long time with a couple of the cars. But after the green flag pit stop cycle, him and Thomas and Reggie Ortega made their way up into the pack and helped James to get right up there for the hard charger result. And a very solid result at that. And he should be very proud of himself. I remember on the day he was actually very shocked to hear that he was the hard charger, but there you go. Coming up next, we're going to have our third place getter. And third place went to the 94 of Andrew Hennessy. Andrew doesn't race with us very often anymore, but when he does, he's usually right up the front. And yeah, just those couple of little incidents there towards the checkered flag, and lost his drafting help, and unfortunately, that was all it took for him to get passed by Sanchez and Hernandez at the line. But in saying that, it's still 0.071 off the win. So that is just about nothing. Then our second place driver, of course, the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez with the stint analyzer car. And Hernandez was towards the front the majority of the race. He knows how to manipulate the draft. He knows how to push. He knows how to lead. But he just came up 9 thousandths of a second short because league owner and league founder Jaron Sanchez, with the Output Racing paint scheme on the car, come through for an emphatic victory. And this is probably one we're going to be hearing about for months, not just weeks, but months. And he should be absolutely happy with himself. Great victory. But that is going to wrap things up for us here tonight. Thank you very much for coming out and having a watch. Don't forget, tomorrow at the same time, you'll be able to see the Texas race. And I know that one's sponsored by Gladiator. I don't know what the length is yet. But until then, I've been your commentator, the Aussie Sim commentator. We'll see you guys tomorrow in Texas.